And it's 9 o'clock on the dot here in the Netherlands. That means that it's 8 o'clock across the channel. Welcome UK and the rest of Europe that doesn't speak Dutch. Hi Corjan.
Hi Serge.
Hi. Welcome to another episode or another implementation of the MyRoute-app webinars that we host every now and again here in the studio in Zoetermeer. And today's subject is being able to navigate with your navigation app by MyRoute-app. And that is what we will be showing you today.
And specifically to prepare yourself for the coming holiday season.
Yes. If you're planning any vacation time, if you're planning to cross the channel and drive into Germany or Italy or the Alps or whatever, exactly. That is what we will be showing you tonight. Of course, we'll be touching on the website. We'll make a stop at our web shop and on our subscription page so that you specifically know what the differences in the subscriptions are. And if you have any questions, you can post them in the chat. We have Michel and I think Nick. Hi Nick. Yes, Nick is there as well. He will be answering or trying to keep up with his two-finger typing with all your questions, so be kind there. Corjan, did you bring your app today?
Obviously I do.
Well, maybe we can switch to a screen that shows your app because you have the revamped app. And I think it's good to show people that may have used MyRoute-app last year for the last time that there is only one app.
Exactly. So over the past period of time, in the past years, we've been working on the app called MyRoute-app. I mean, you call your company MyRoute-app. Is there any more obvious name for the app than simply MyRoute-app?
Exactly.
So we used to have MRA Mobile and MRA Navigation. So if you still have anything named like that on your phone, just delete it. Head over to the App Store, search for MyRoute-app, and there we have it, the ultimate navigation app. Simply download it and you're ready to go.
Yes, make sure you have the white icon with the blue shaping point icon, not the dark blue with the arrow pointing up. That's the old app, doesn't work anymore, delete it and get the new app.
So once you're in the app, you'll get a prompt to start a tour of the app. I mean, we highly recommend to just do that.
Especially if you're new to the app, just use the guided tour.
Exactly, and one of the first things that the guided tour will tell you is in the top right here, you have your account. You can create it, you can log in if you have an existing one, you can do everything in the app. Within MyRoute-app, we have several different products and subscriptions, and Serge will talk about that later.
In a minute,
on the website, to talk about the different products we have and subscription-based models. But at MyRoute-app, we firmly believe that users should feel convinced themselves to purchase a subscription. We don't really want to force you into buying anything you won't use. That's why we have different subscriptions, but also why we offer a generous free trial. So if you would use the app, you would search for a destination and for example, you want to go to Amsterdam, search for that, you select Amsterdam and it will create a route. So over here we see one interesting thing, that's the grayed out navigate button.
It's the arrow on the right.
Exactly. And if we click on that, it will state something that a subscription is required. Now, yes, we could be asking for banking details and immediately after the trial we could start taking money from your account. But no, we don't really believe that's the way it should work. So if you want to start using MyRoute-app, there's just one thing you need to do. You click Start Trial.
And a good thing, the trial starts immediately. So if you're planning a vacation, let's say a week in the Lake District, highly recommend using Nick's suggested routes in the Lake District, for example. Then plan your start trial a few days before you go, so you can get familiarized with the app, but you have the full benefit of your trip using MyRoute-app navigation.
Exactly.
So you started your trial, it says on the screen.
Yes, and you haven't had to put in any banking details, not anything else besides your email address, and you needed to select a password to log in.
Yeah,
but that's all the information we have at this point. So now we've created a route to Amsterdam. We click Start Navigation. There it is, and away we go. That's all we need to do.
So literally within 10 seconds, that is if you can type your email address within 10 seconds,
Exactly, yes.
then you should be able to get moving and using MyRoute-app navigation. This is true for everyone, so there's no limitation, everybody can use that. Regardless if you use an Android or an iPhone, all the same, depending on your screen size, you will be able to see things while riding or not, but we have solutions for that as well.
Yeah.
So we've created a basic account, and we were able to start a destination route. Will I also be able to do other things using my basic account on the app?
Yes, you can. Together with the trial of navigation, you can actually almost use every single feature there is. Some things will still be restricted, and for that you would need the subscriptions that belong to those products.
Okay, so let's switch to the website then and talk a little bit about subscription, because that apparently is still something that people have questions about. It's good to make absolutely clear that there's two distinct products, and there's a reason for it. And I'll show them on the screen. As you can see, the three columns on the left are the MyRoute-app route planner subscriptions, and those are the basic ones. The one that you just created, the account that you just created, automatically creates a basic route planning account.
Yeah.
So the features in the basic account are listed below. If you click on Show Features, you can find and create routes, you can upload them, you can download them, you can share them online. There's a Michelin map layer so that you can have the best routes in the area that you're riding. It's basic, but it's full of functionality. If you need a little bit more, you want to use Google Street View, or you want to be able to create a winding route and avoid cities, which I like when I plan motorcycle routes, you may want to consider silver route planning. And again, this is only about planning your route. This has nothing to do with navigating. This, the trial that Corjan just started is a separate product that I come to next.
So even if you're a VIRP or you purchased MyRoute-app Route Planner Gold Lifetime long ago and you feel that you are a user of the first hour,
it's still a different product.
It's still a different product.
Because the Gold membership allows you to use the TomTom map, the Garmin Here map, which comes into play because the navigation app also uses the Here map. So for accuracy, that's a good combination. There's a 3D card. You can compare your routes. That's especially helpful if you're planning routes for friends that also use the old sat-nav boxes on their handlebars. And there's an extended toolkit that offers you many more features that are not available in Silver and in Basic. So that's the route planning part. And apart from route planning, you can also purchase Navigation Next. If you're only planning routes and you're using them on your Garmin XT or your TomTom 550, or a app that you selected years ago and you're happy with, you only need the route planning tool, and you can use that and you will have everything you need. If you plan your routes in any other app, or you just use the route library that our route experts fill with excellent routes, or you have a friend that makes excellent routes and you ride with him and you never plan a route yourself, you'll be happy just to use MyRoute-app navigation. And if you want to do them both, like many of our users do, you'll be good to buy a combination pack. And as you can see on the top of the screen, there's now a all-in-one Gold and Next lifetime subscription combined for a reduced price for a limited time. So if anything, if you were ever considering buying, this is the best time. So route planning on one end, navigation on the next. I hope I cleared any inconspicucies up by explaining it a little bit more in detail. Let's go back to the website and show you a little bit about, for example, a route that I can find there, so that we can then later see them on the screen in.
Exactly.
Did you already check that you now are a paying subscriber?
Yes, I am.
So I go back to the account that Corjan has on MyRoute-app.
Just refresh it now.
So I can see he's a basic member now, and he's in trial for Navigation Next. If I refresh the page, because on that end it's now been refreshed, you'll see he's now a Route Planner Gold and a Navigation Next user, offering many more features to his account.
So let's say I want to go on vacation to Scotland.
Yeah, as you are actually literally planning to go to.
But just Do I need to plan everything myself, or how does that work?
Now, well, of course, you're free to plan anything you like, but maybe a good example helps you on your way. Maybe somebody already did a little planning for you and you can benefit from that. In the Route Expert Library that is accessible to anybody with or without accounts, so this is something that we offer to the entire motorcycle community, I can search for a country, let's say the United Kingdom, and then I can select a region that I like, let's say Scotland.
Yeah.
And as you can see, the map zooms in on Scotland, and you can then, using your control button, you can zoom in and find routes anywhere on the map. And by selecting one, you see a route that starts in Fort Augustus, goes to Bremer in the Cairngorms, or if you close out this route and select another one, you zoom in and there's two in this area, one from Inverary to Oban, and one another destination
Featuring Nick Carfew himself.
exactly the route expert that we have answering your calls in the chat today. You see some summary about the route. There's a review. You will always find information,
Pretty extensive as well.
photos, links, helpful links about what you will be seeing, suggestions for overnight stay, and anything you would need for a good vacation. So I typically hunt in the route library before I plan anything myself.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, you don't need to plan anything. You can use the route library. But maybe there's not enough information listed in this route. If you open routes made by Nick, you'll be hard pressed to find any spots where you can add information, because many of the routes are completely filled. And we like that because this information, and this is what sets MyRoute-app apart from any other
Exactly.
online planner or any other navigation device, all the information that we add in the route library and that you can add as a user. For example, this is route point 10, so let's use this route by Nick in Corjan's account, use route Inverary to Oban, including the Kintyre 66. Okay, so that's the route. Remember the name because you have to open it in a second. And just to show how easy it is to add information, I'm going to point at route point 10 and add some information here. I add a note that says Serge was here.
No, you're not typing anymore.
Oh, I'm not typing anymore because I have thick fingers. Serge was here on route point 10. Nick already included extensive information on the Isle of Arran and why it would be wise to visit the Isle of Arran. Whiskey lovers will know why. So let's go to the app and see if this information made it across. And remember, I only selected the route from the route library.
Yeah.
I opened it in the planner,
Exactly.
and now it's back in the app.
So I've opened the menu, and as we just saw, we edited this route. So it's the last route I was working on. So if I now click on last route, the app will load the latest route that we were working on. And there it is. And then I press open route. It's loading. And we jump to waypoint 10. Click it. And there it says Serge was here. Because the latest route which is loaded to my phone. And there it is, ready to use. With all the details put in by Nick, and then the tweaks we want to make to it ourselves. We're free to make any changes we like. We can change the start point, end point, make it longer or shorter, everything like that we can do.
Exactly, because we took the route from the library
Yeah.
and put it in our own MyRoute-app account. So it's now we're not editing the expert route because we may make it worse because we're not that experienced. But we just took a copy and using that.
We can actually also find the route itself directly from the app. So if we click on library, there we are, beautifully. We see all the different routes that are available. I can tap here, there we go. This might be another route, let's see where it is.
Well, Fort Augustus to Bremer is the other one that I just showed.
That's the other one. So we can click info, click navigate. We have everything we want. So let's just click on info. There it is again. And we can do two things. We can download it or we can open it.
And this is a good point to point out that there's a good reason to use offline navigation.
Yeah.
Because the app on your phone has a few features that we haven't talked about yet, but why would we need offline navigation and how does that work? Can you show something?
Yeah, so the offline navigation comes in multiple phases, so to say. So the first thing I can do is actually download this route and click on Make Offline Available.
So it's no longer on the server, it's now on my phone.
Yes, so if I would go to my downloads, there it is, Fort Augustus to Bremer. No
Perfect.
idea if I pronounce it correctly.
Bremer, I think it's Bremer.
Bremer. I'm not Scottish.
Fort Augustus is Fort Augustus. That's
And there we have the route loaded offline. So we could actually turn off my internet, which I won't do because then I would lose connection to the computer. But I could now just switch off my internet and load this route again. So what else do I need to do to drive offline? So if we head back to account, we now see that I am a gold and navigation user. And if I scroll down, we have the offline map section. If I tap that, we see that there's an update available, which I will talk about in a minute. It displays the version numbers and all the continents in the world. So we press Europe, and there we have it. So we have all the different countries available to download, and we can see which ones are downloaded, the ones with the check mark in front of it, and the ones with the check mark in front of it are either directly removable by tapping the cross. It will then ask if you want to remove Belgium.
to avoid thick fingers
Exactly.
and accidentally deleting countries that you still need.
Yeah, and for France, for example, we see it's completely checked, and if we then open it, we can download the whole region, or we can just tap again and remove France.
Yeah, especially for larger countries like France and Germany,
Yeah.
it may make sense to just select part of the country instead of the entire country. The same is true for the UK.
Yeah.
Smaller countries like Belgium, Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, it makes sense to just download the entire country.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, in my humble opinion, to download all of Europe or
No.
all of the US or all of South America, because you will not be covering that much ground in your one
Yeah.
10-day vacation.
And
So-
if you would to visit Andorra, or even have the slightest chance to visit, I mean, just imagine that you're driving at the border with Germany, but you're not intending to cross the border. But if you then don't have Germany downloaded and you do have to cross the border, well, that's a bit inconvenient.
Yeah, so then maybe select the region bordering the Netherlands.
Exactly.
And Luxembourg, if you do the Netherlands and France and Belgium, add Luxembourg.
Exactly. And if you want to download a region, just tap the download icon, Andorra, 62 megabytes, done. Almost instantaneous. And then if I want to remove it again because I don't need it, we just tap remove, we click yes, and it's gone.
And all the countries and regions that I have selected and downloaded previously will be covered by the update button on the top.
Yeah.
So that also means if I have selected quite a few countries and large regions, I don't want to do the update 2 minutes before my drive starts.
Yeah.
Not even the night before my drive starts. As you can see, the version on the screen is now 124 and the new version is 125. It doesn't state what has been changed, but I don't think the entire map of France has been rewritten.
No. So this really is a big difference between your Garmin device and your TomTom and the app. If you purchase a Garmin or TomTom, all the maps come pre-installed, and once in so many years, months, you might download an update. The app, however, is very small. You don't need a lot of data to download the app, but on the other hand, it's not preloaded with a lot of information. So every single map you want to use needs to be downloaded. So
Which also means that you don't have to carry maps that you don't need, which
Exactly.
don't take any space
Storage,
on
yeah.
your storage.
Yeah. So, but if you would want to download an update, you can do that, but just make sure you do it way ahead of your trip. Don't do it on crappy hotel Wi-Fi. Don't do it the night before. If it's installed, it's installed and it will work.
Yeah, and the minor changes in an update typically have to do with something somewhere that you probably won't be writing next day anyway. So don't worry too much about that. So that's two parts of offline navigation.
Exactly. So we've downloaded the route that we want to navigate offline, and we've downloaded the maps for the regions that we are navigating in. The third thing that we can do is head over to navigation settings, click on functional, and at the very top it states offline navigation. What does it mean? Well, we can simply press the information button next to it and it will say what it does.
Which is actually a great idea, because many of the features are equipped with an information icon that tells you exactly what that setting does.
Exactly. So if you've downloaded offline maps, you do not need to touch this setting unless you really don't want to use internet. So if you've downloaded the offline maps, but you do not use offline navigation, the phone will still always use, or at least attempt to use, the offline stored maps. So if you're driving through countries in which you want to limit your data usage, we always recommend to just download the offline maps. And if you have those, your data usage will be insignificant compared to if you wouldn't have the offline maps, because the 1 gigabyte of the country is already preloaded on your phone. So just imagine if you would drive through the entire country, you wouldn't be needing every single tile for the map, so it wouldn't be 1 gigabyte. But yes, if you're driving around multiple days through different sections, there's only so much that the app caches, so to say. So that means that in over many days, your data usage will still be quite heavy. But
plus, if you're in areas where data connection is not best, northern Scotland, parts of the German forest, and that will always be that point where you just need the next map section to determine whether to go left or right. Pre-install the map.
Yep.
It will save you a lot of data, and it will save you a lot of inconvenience on the way, which leads to a better performance of your device and a better experience of the app. And that also includes using offline navigation, because that's what you're telling us now. Offline navigation is the second step. Map, then offline navigation.
Yep.
And what does that do compared to online navigation?
Yeah, so the third setting that you see here, the traffic-aware route calculation, means that the app takes all the traffic around you in consideration in finding the best and most optimal route. For that, it needs internet. So really the only difference between online navigation and offline navigation is the availability of traffic. But considering the fact that when we go on vacation, we usually tend to avoid the highways anyway, there's not a lot of traffic, let alone that the app knows about the traffic. I mean, if a local road in northern Scotland is blocked because of a tree fallen over, it will take quite some time
before Dutch or even UK traffic reports will show that on any map. So make sure if you're traveling through Germany using Autobahn, maybe that's when you want to use online, but then you will have perfect internet. You can use the online navigation. So maybe still using your offline maps, but still using online navigation.
Exactly.
Do you go into the forest, switch to offline navigation instead? So that's the second part.
Yeah.
And the third part you already showed, that's the offline download of your specific route for that day.
So if I would turn on offline navigation, you will actually see that the traffic-aware route calculation setting is grayed out because it's not allowed to be altered, or it's not even used. So that's really it for the offline navigation.
There's a lot of other switches that you can select. Can I break something?
No, just that's really the memo of all webinars that we give. If you want to try something in the app, just go ahead, press the button. There's not a lot you can break. I mean, I could even go back to my settings. Then I could say, well, do I want to delete my account? It cannot be undone. I click yes. And then it's like, oh, are you really sure? I mean, I just had confidence, right? I mean, I just tapped the button. I wanted to delete it. Asked if I wanted to delete it. I said yes. Michel's heart was probably jumping somewhere. But even then, it still asks, are you really, really, really sure? Because, I mean, you don't want to delete your account by accident. But that just shows that there's not really anything you can do wrong in the app. I mean, even if you would click yes and delete all your downloads, they are downloads, so you can just re-download them
again. Yeah, and the thing I like to impress on people is if you're new to using any app, and in this case MyRoute-app in particular, make some time on a Sunday afternoon when you are planning on riding anyway, and get familiarized with the app. Don't wait till you're on the German Autobahn and having to navigate to your next exit to go into the Black Forest or anything, but use something 50 kilometers around your house, and use the switch settings and see if one setting is preferable for you to the other setting, and maybe create a route using via points with information and see how that is announced in your screen and in your headset, because that's another feature that is particular to MyRoute-app. We quickly touched on it because I changed something on one waypoint, but is that information available to me while I ride?
Yes, definitely. So I'll just quickly answer two questions that I just saw popping up in the app. So yes, if you are riding in a area with low data or low cell coverage, always just go to the functional settings and turn on offline navigation. That does then mean that you need to download the offline maps, as we just shown. And regarding very long routes in the app, we always recommend to just split routes really into day sections, right? So if you're traveling 10,000 kilometers through Europe, you're not going to drive that in one go.
Unless you are able to drive that in one day, you're allowed to have such a long route. Otherwise,
Exactly. So
make it day trips.
So that's really the idea. So just make them day trips, and you will never have a too long route.
And if you don't know how to make day trips from a 9,000 kilometer route, see any of the webinars we made before. Our YouTube channel has all the information.
Yes.
But just to be quick, in Toolkit you find split, and you can cut the route
In day sections.
in day sections.
Yes.
Really simple.
So if we now go back to what you wanted to tell about, so the waypoints, right? So Serge edited the waypoints saying Serge was here. So there's a very nice setting that we can talk about. In the navigation settings, in the audio part, we have waypoint notifications. You can put them to off, you can put them on via, or you can put it to all.
And via means a hand. It's a stopping point. You need to stop. You need to visit it. And the shaping points are considered the rest. So now it's announcing all waypoints.
Yes.
5 points, shaping points, all mean route points.
Yes. So what are waypoint notifications? So waypoint notifications are audio notifications about your upcoming waypoints. So if I would just now open my routes and I would load my demo route, a round trip around the IJsselmeer, we can see a lovely picture here. This was actually from the 10-year anniversary that we
Last
celebrated
Sunday here in Zoetermeer.
There were around 180 people participating in.
Half of them showing up on motorcycles. It was really an awesome sight.
So that was an amazing day. If any of you are watching this and we're actually present, thanks for joining us. So over here we have a nice route. I can tap open route.
And you'll see all the waypoints in this route present on the screen.
Exactly. And over here we have waypoint 1, and if I click it, it's in Dutch, but it says something like, this is the start of the route, we gather together and then we go off for a ride. We see the picture, and that is unique. So we created this route in MyRoute-app, we load it in the app, and we have all the same information. If you would export it to a TomTom, Garmin, or whatsoever, which we will show in a bit, you lose that information.
Not because we don't want to share it, but because TomTom doesn't know how to present that information on screen.
Exactly. Then over here, we for example have a picture of a McDonald's where you can have dinner, and we'll continue on that. So we press navigate, the route is now loading, we click start, and this is it. So the cool part of MyRoute-app with the setting that we just explained is that the text you see scrolling in the top of the screen is actually being read to me as we speak. So if I'm driving with my helmet on and my headset connected to my phone, I will actually be approaching my waypoint, in this case a via point, and because it's within 2 kilometers, in 1.5 kilometer to be exact, as it says on the top right, you will actually hear
a notification go off.
It will say waypoint nearby, start of your route. This is where we gather together, park our bikes, have a coffee, and then away we go. So for waypoint 1, this might not be that interesting. But if we would open our waypoint list right there, we can scroll through all the waypoints we have. And if we then see this waypoint, for example, it says something about a museum. But we can also scroll over here, waypoint 22. We can click the photo icon here. And it will actually it will display again the text, the note you put in, and the picture that you added. So if you would be driving here and you would put in a note with some information or a notification about parking, for example, that can be very useful during your trips. Because if you're heading to somewhere where there's not a lot of parking and you need to make a quick decision, it would be ideal if the app would actually say to you, upcoming waypoint, be prepared to stop and search for parking. And that's exactly what you can do with MyRoute-app.
Yep.
You plan your route in meticulous detail. I mean, a lot of people enjoy spending hours and hours within
They
the
spend
MRA
half the
route.
winter preparing the summer trips.
And how amazing is it that you approach a point, you thought about it, and then the app actually reminds you about all the time that you put into planning. So you won't forget to stop and pull over. You won't miss anything.
I actually have a good example of that. I was in Sauerland in Germany 2 weeks ago, and near our hotel there was a gas station. We needed to stop there for gas at the end of the day because we wanted to be filled up before the next day. But it was located through a tunnel, and then a sharp turn to the right. Back on top of the tunnel was the gas station. So we weren't able to see the gas station, so you would probably miss it. My route app, I put a route point just before the tunnel, and I said, careful, a gas station through the tunnel, directly to your right and to your right again.
Yep.
And as I was leading the group that we were riding with, I could say, watch it guys, we're taking a sharp right and another right, gas station is on top of this tunnel.
Yep.
And that's just one of the features. Driving in Scotland and having an announcement on my screen, look to your right, you'll see a waterfall in the distance about 500 meters away. I would have probably missed it
Yep.
if I wouldn't been advised to look
Oh
to
yes,
the right.
and when you and Michel drive the Iron Curtain Trail,
As we do 2 weeks from now.
yeah, I mean, they pass so many historical sites, but you don't maybe have time to stop at everyone. So what Michel often does is he just puts in a short extract, the first 100 words or something from Wikipedia, and if you would then approach a castle like Neuschwanstein, it would say, upcoming waypoint, Neuschwanstein. This castle was built in the early
XYZ,
and was built by
Mr. So-and-so.
and etc. So you would actually be driving past something historical. The app would tell you all the information you need, which you put in yourself, and that's everything you need. And more amazingly, I mean, if we now have this app and we don't want to put in all that information ourselves, we can just search for nearby routes. So these are all the route expert routes that are nearby. I want to make sure that I start and end at the same place, so I just check round trip. So
At the bottom, and now you have a radius of about 20 kilometers within which these routes need to be found.
So I have a great amount of routes that are very nearby. So I just click info and then I press download, because this time I want to make it offline available. So I downloaded it for my offline use. But there's another thing I want to show you, because this app can also export to other apps or devices. So if you would not want to use MyRoute Navigation, which would be silly because you would lose all the information that we just
show
displayed.
you why you want to use it, but maybe you have a Triumph like you, and you have a built-in TFT screen,
Yes.
and you want to show it on that screen.
I could download it as a GPX file, so I select GPX, and then I click export. After clicking export, MyRoute-app will search for all the apps on your phone that support the import
Of GPX.
of
files.
GPX. So if you would download ITN, it would show apps supporting that file, etc. And right here we see that the supported apps are, well, MyRoute-app, because obviously we support GPX, but also my Triumph. That's because I have my Triumph. If you would have a BMW, you would probably see the BMW Connected app.
Or maybe you have a Garmin XT, then you would have the Garmin Drive app.
Yeah.
And there's a few other apps that have the same functionality. Point is, you download the app as a GPX 1.1 on your phone.
Yeah.
You select the app that best fits your bike or apparatus, and from there you follow the steps.
Yes. I actually think Nick just sent me a message because I see the Apeldoorn and The Hague WhatsApp group popping up. So let's just quickly select my Triumph app. This means that my Triumph will now start importing the GPX file I just exported. It's now taking a while to calculate the route, and in a bit it will actually say with how much percentage accuracy it has been imported. Well, that's 98%. I click OK, and there it is. So the GPX file from the export that I just had is now imported in my Triumph app. And if I now go to my bike and I press start, the TFT display of my phone will currently navigate this route. So I wouldn't need a Navigation Next subscription to use it, but I would lose all the information that this route expert put in. So my Triumph won't tell me that at point 35 there's a fuel station, my Triumph won't tell me that at point 19 I can have a coffee break at one of these two cafes chosen by the route expert. So all that information is lost. But obviously we do still support that, because that is crucial to MyRoute-app.
Yeah, anybody is free to choose whatever navigation device they choose. Of course, in MyRoute-app navigation, you will have all the benefits of all the information, notwithstanding that other apps still show you the route. Some even show you the via points. The Garmin XT, for example, will show the hard via points, as opposed to TomTom that doesn't show that feature. Other apps I'm not too familiar with are at least able to import the GPX file and how much information is shown on the screen, if you see any route points or not. Depends on whatever app you're using. We only know about MyRoute-app in that sense.
Exactly. Another great thing about MyRoute-app is the bottom box you see right now. So in the top left you see a small yellow icon indicating that you're offline. So if you're ever unsure if you're offline, just check there, and if it has the data arrows crossed out, it means you're offline. This means that the app is now currently not using any internet, and I could just switch my internet off and everything will still function. But if I tap it, it now shows 5 hours and 59 minutes. If I tap it, it will show 5 minutes. This means that it's 5 minutes till my next shaping point.
Yep, and that's probably just down the street here.
Yeah, exactly. If I then tap it again, it shows the distance to my next via point, which is...
May I interrupt there? Because if I'm riding on my motorcycle, wearing these big gloves, and my hands are not as dexterous as they used to be anyway. My screen on my phone is small. So is there any other way I could select, for example, next waypoint or next via point time to...
Definitely, yes.
I knew that. So let's switch back to the website. Because you don't have to struggle with small phone screens and being able to tap on that phone screen and then select what you want to do. In the MRA web shop, you will find controllers, Bluetooth controllers. And you have been riding with the Silver Fox controller, and everybody that was here last Sunday could have seen it in action, or at least seen it on the handlebars of your Triumph. This is a hardware box that you install on your bike. It's general use, so it's not specific to one bike, and it's Bluetooth controlling the MRA app. You can skip waypoints, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can select a menu item and then scroll through the menu. Anything you would do on the screen, you can do on the fly on your handlebars, just using the buttons on the Silver Fox, and you can order it online and we'll ship it to you with some MyRoute-app goodies as well. If you want to go one step further, because that one small phone doesn't really do it for you anymore, you can also switch to a larger tablet solution. It could be a Carpiator, it could be a Samsung tablet that I've been riding for years with, and add a controller that is maybe even a little bit more bike specific. BMW controller for all the guys on BMWs. If you're riding a more rugged bike like a Tenere or something that you also take off-road, maybe you like the terrain command, also by Carpiator, that also works with the tablet on your bike. Bigger screen, more information, ruggedized, doesn't get bothered when it's raining. There's a lot of features that you can then use just using your thumbs on your handlebars. You don't have to let go of your handlebars while riding, and you can use the buttons in the case of BMW, even in conjunction with the Wonder Wheel, which is a great feature that I like using very, very much. So small screens, big buttons, easy to use.
Exactly.
Just wanted to point that out real quick.
So now we just quickly jump back and then to the app. So yes, so if you want to control the app without touching the screen, there are numerous controllers available. You can check our web shop for all the ones that we resell. But if we now see the app again, we might just want to skip part of the route, right? So we just quit the route. We have coffee. The app will remember what we were doing and we were driving this route, and we can just quickly press navigate again, and the app will resume the navigation with what we were doing. So there we go. It will actually display a nice fuel station that we are about to approach, but we might just want to be able to skip a part, right? So the total duration of the route is another 6 hours, so that's a bit long. So why not skip a part till we have some coffee over there at waypoint 19.
Long press.
And there we go. So all I did was just go to the waypoint, long press it, and that was it. So if I would open the waypoint menu, there we go, I can actually short click on 17 or 15 or 13 whatsoever, and I could actually long press that one as well, and there we go. We go to waypoint 14.
That means that if I select a round trip from routes nearby, but I'm not actually located at the start point of that particular route, I just select the route point nearest to me,
Exactly.
long press that, make it my start point for the day, ride the entire round trip till the end of the round trip, then go to route point 1 and then finish back to where I once started, or just cut off a piece and go home if I feel like that's the way to do. I'm looking at the time, and there's a few questions that I want to address real quick from the chat, if I may. One of the questions pertains to specific Garmin devices. We have plenty of information on that on the website, but another one that I saw was controllers. Yes, there are controllers available to specific bikes, but the Silver Fox is more generic.
Yep.
The skip waypoints, is there anything we need to say about that?
Well, we could just quickly wrap that up as well. So waypoint skipping is really quite crucial, right? So right now we skip to a certain waypoint, so we see the white line displaying the original route that we were driving, and the blue line shows the current one. So if you ever see the white line, you know, okay, that's where we missed something or skipped something deliberately. So we take the fastest route to waypoint 15, and I still want to go to waypoint 19 because that's more convenient. So I can just press waypoint 14 and it will ask if I would want to go to waypoint 15, or just long press it and it will do so immediately. We added this because, well, if a raindrop touches it or something, you don't want it to be accidentally skipped. So that's why it's the way it is.
Okay, and automatically skipping waypoints?
Yeah, so if we would be driving on the highway right here where you would see that, and it would we would just decide ourselves to go straight, the app will actually automatically start skipping waypoints. As of the next update, we will have improved this even more. But the idea is that the app will search for the most logical next waypoint. So it will just skip everything that you seem to deliberately ignore.
So if there's 3 waypoints in a loop, and because of time, for example, I choose to cut that loop off my ride. In this case, for example, from waypoint, let me look at the screen, 22 directly to 28.
Yeah, so if at waypoint 22 we would just go straight down towards 25, it will automatically skip waypoint 23 and waypoint 24.
Only for shaping points,
yes.
Never for hands, never for fire points.
So if we at waypoint 17 would decide to jump over the river,
sometimes we can.
Sometimes we can. I mean, in the Netherlands we have a lot of rivers, so we can't always cross them. But if we would jump over the river towards waypoint 31, that will never be possible because waypoint 19 will never be skipped automatically.
So we would have to stop it manually or use the bar buttons.
Yes.
And manually skip that waypoint. Fire points you purposely set on your map. Don't miss this point, so we're not missing that point.
Exactly.
Otherwise, we would be missing the point.
Nice word, Joe.
Yep. Okay. There we go. So Carpaiter for iOS. No, Carpaiter is on Android. Do I need to export route or track? In the BMW TFT, you can use both, but I would recommend using track because a route, and that is something I've explained in other webinars as well, a route will always be calculated on the device. So if you export a route to an external platform, be it TFT by BMW or would it be your Garmin, then the calculation between the route points will be done on your Garmin or on your BMW, and it will always be different than you planned on MyRoute-app, unless you have put in a significant amount of waypoints and put them exactly where your Garmin would make choices.
Yeah.
So when in doubt, use track. Okay, I'm looking at the time. We approaching our end of our screen. Let's see if there's any question that I need to answer now. Otherwise, we can maybe...
I have a nice one little thing I could show. So what if we're in Scotland or wherever in the world and we can't really find any nearby routes that we want to use because we're not feeling it or they're too long or whatsoever. We just want something unique. What you can always do is just open the menu. You can press round trip. So I now clicked twice. Right? I opened the menu, one click. I clicked round trip. That was 2. And we immediately have a very feasible round trip of 150 kilometers.
Based on the slider on the bottom there,
Yes.
that you can use to make the route longer or shorter.
Now,
and this is always done from where you are with your
Exactly.
phone on that point, right? So it's never 20 kilometers away,
No.
it's where you are.
So that's really it. So I clicked twice. Now I click for the 3rd time and then will actually warn me that, hey, you have offline navigation enabled, but because of how this works, you have to turn it off. This is actually something that we hope to also support offline in the future. This is because of some software compatibility with here, but we are both working on something to support track navigation offline as well, so hopefully that gets implemented soon. But for now we just say, yeah, sure, turn it off.
It also makes sense because the route just got generated, so there needs to be an exchange of information between the MyRoute-app server and the device that you're using. It makes sense all the way.
So now we have the track. That was click number 3. We click for the 4th time, and there it is.
And off we go.
Off we go.
And this is a automatically generated round trip, so it doesn't have any waypoints, it doesn't have a coffee stop, it doesn't have all that feature stuff that you would have if you were planning your route beforehand, but you didn't plan anything. You were gone in 4 clicks.
4 clicks.
So literally under 10 seconds you could be riding, and you'll probably find something to drink coffee on the way anyway.
Yes.
Okay, so I have not much more to add for this moment, but this was also the last planned webinar in the series that we were doing.
Yes.
I heard a little birdie say something about great plans.
Yep.
We had a great
Anniversary.
here on site in Zoetermeer. So I would suggest everybody to subscribe to the newsletter. Make sure that you follow on Facebook and Instagram so that you don't miss any of the updates, because we have great things coming up also before the summer. This will be recorded, or is recorded, and will be available on YouTube. So share it with all your friends across the world if they want to also learn how to use MRA Navigation Next and enjoy in the next vacation trip.
Yes.
Anything you want to add for now?
No, definitely not. Thanks for participating with me tonight.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you all for watching.
And we hope to see you on the road somewhere. Keep it safe, have fun, enjoy using MRA Navigation Next.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.